Chapter 4. Valeria. I can't believe I'm going into heat with Kaeryn standing in my bedroom. The thought would be humiliating under any circumstance. Tonight, it feels almost absurd enough to be funny. Almost. My room is small by halcyon standards, which means merely expensive instead of obscene. A narrow bed pressed against the wall, a desk buried with books and notes, shelves lined with perfectly arranged folders that now seem deeply irrelevant. A single lamp glows worn in the corner, throwing soft light across everything and making the room feel closer, softer, more dangerous, because Kaeryn is in it. Her alpha presence fills the space in a way architecture never could. She stands near the door at first, broad shoulders tense, eyes tracking me with sharp concern. Even stillness looks powerful on her. The lines of her body feel steady, grounded, immovable. And while my own body seems to be melting from the inside out, too warm, too sensitive, too needy, she looks like something solid enough to lean against, which is exactly what I want. To lean, to press into her, to let myself be held by someone stronger while everything in me comes apart. This is a deeply embarrassing realization. "You look pale," Kaeryn says. "I'm on fire." That's the opposite of pale. "You're being unhelpful." "I'm trying to keep you conscious." She crosses the room and presses a glass of water in my hands. Her fingers brush mine, and the tiny contact sends a pulse of awareness through my entire body so sharp I nearly drop the glass. Ridiculous. I drink, because if I don't occupy my mouth with something, I might say something catastrophic. Kaeryn crouches slightly to meet my eye level. "How can I help?" There is no smugness in her voice, no teasing edge, just direct concern. I am too weak to be prideful. I swallow. "Wait for a bit." Her brows draw together. "That's your plan?" "It was not scheduled." She exhales through her nose, fighting a smile. "You're impossible, even delirious." "I'm not delirious." "You tried to glare at your lamp 10 seconds ago. It looked judgmental." She laughs softly. I hate how much I like her sound. Another wave of heat rolls through me, deeper this time, curling low in my body and making my knees feel unreliable. Instinct rises with it, old and primal and impossible to reason with. Nest. The need arrives so suddenly that resisting it feels foolish. I set the glass down and begin moving around the room, gathering pillows from the bed, pulling folded blankets from the chair, dragging cushions from the window seat. Kaeryn watches in silence for a moment. Then she says, very carefully, "Should I ask?" "No." "Good. I wasn't going to." I build quickly, shaping a space on the bed and floor where fabric surrounds softness and warmth. Pillows at the back, blankets tucked around the sides, layers arranged until something in my frantic body quiets by a fraction. When I turn back towards her, she is still standing there, still watching, and her pupils are blown wide. I freeze. That means something. Alpha response. My pheromones are affecting her. The realization should alarm me. Instead, a strange calm slides through the heat because if everything else is stripped away, ego, rivalry, pretense, control, the truth remains embarrassingly simple. I am attracted to Kaeryn, to her mind, to her confidence, to the way she looks at me like I am something worth understanding, to the way she is looking at me now. I sit in the nest carefully and pull a blanket over my legs. Then I look up. "Come closer." She doesn't hesitate. That alone tells me she is not thinking clearly either. She kneels beside the bed first. Then, when I reach for her without subtlety, she climbs fully onto it and lets me pull her in. The second her arms close around me, something in my chest gives. Relief floods through me so suddenly my eyes sting. She is warm and firm and real. I press my face against her shoulder and breathe her in, cedar and skin and that steady alpha certainty that makes my whole body want to soften. Kaeryn shifts, adjusting us both until I'm half across her lap. Then her hand moves into my hair. Slow strokes. Gentle. Repetitive. My body melts. "My mother liked this," she murmurs near my temple, "when she was in heat." The intimacy of that confession lands softly between us. "I do too," I whisper before I can censor it. Her hand pauses only briefly before continuing. I love it. I love being touched without demand, being cared for, being cherished in this quiet, instinctive way, feeling weak and being allowed to be weak, depending on someone strong enough to hold me together. My eyes drift closed. The heat still burns under my skin, but it is different now, less frantic, less lonely. When I open them again, I'm inches from Karen's face. All I can see are her lips. Soft-looking, slightly parted, distractingly close. The thought escapes before I can stop it. Can I kiss them? For a heartbeat, she just stares at me. Then she smiles, slow and devastating. I was thinking the same thing. And then she leans in. The first touch of her mouth against mine is gentle enough to undo me. No challenge, no argument, no sharp edges, just warmth. I make a sound I will deny later and clutch at her shirt as she kisses me again, deeper this time, slow enough to feel and feel and feel. Her lips are soft. Her hand cups the back of my head. Mine slide to her shoulders, anchoring myself to something solid while the rest of me drifts. The kiss feeds something deeper than desire. It answers the ache for closeness that heat had sharpened into pain. Human contact, tenderness, being wanted and soothed at once. The raging heat inside me cools by degrees, not extinguished, but gentled. I kiss her harder. She responds instantly. When we finally part, we are both breathing like we've run somewhere reckless. I stare at her for one stunned second. Then instinct surges again. I push her backward onto the bed. Kaeryn lands with a startled laugh, hair falling loose, eyes dark and bright. I climb over her before dignity can intervene. I need more, I say. Her hands settle at my waist, steady and sure. I'll give you whatever you need.
Chapter 5. Kaeryn. I had sex with Valeria while she was in heat. That thought loops around my head endlessly as I wake up in Valeria's bed, my limbs tangled with hers. It is not a bad thought. It is not a regrettable thought. It is, however, a deeply distracting thought. Morning light spills through the narrow gap in her curtains, soft and pale, turning the room gold at the edges. Her desk is still crowded with papers and books. One pillow lies abandoned on the floor. A blanket is half hanging off the bed in the aftermath of last night's chaos. And somewhere beneath my shoulder, there is probably a notebook I'm too comfortable to investigate. Valeria is draped across me like she was designed to be there. One leg tangled with mine, one arm hooked over my waist, her face pressed against my chest, hair everywhere, breathing slow and even in a way I find absurdly satisfying. She is warm, relaxed, and, for once, not glaring at me. I look down at her for a long moment. Last night, she had been flushed and trembling and trying to command her own biology through sheer stubbornness. This morning, she looks peaceful, soft around the edges, all sharpness temporarily dissolved into sleep. It suits her alarmingly well. Carefully, I lift a hand and brush my fingers across her forehead. Cool. No fever heat, no restless warmth, no frantic scent flooding the room. The heat has broken. Relief settles in me before I can pretend otherwise. She lives. I murmur. Valeria makes a small sound against my shirt and tightens her hold on me. Then, voice thick with sleep, she mumbles, 5 more minutes. I nearly laugh. This woman debated economic theory like she wanted to draw blood 2 days ago. Now she is bargaining with consciousness. You're already unconscious. Then stop interrupting it. She snuggles closer. Actually, snuggles. The word is humiliating, but accurate. I love it immediately. I love that she's clingy like this, thoughtless in sleep, reaching for me without pride getting in the way. I love that she seems to need me in this small, uncomplicated morning way. That realization should concern me. Instead, I pat her head gently. You did well, fighting through your heat. She snorts against me. It is a deeply inelegant sound. I did not fight through my heat. I made love through it. I choke on a laugh. And now, she continues, sleepily, I feel great. That explains why you're smiling at me instead of screaming at me. I can scream if it would help you feel normal. It would, actually. She finally looks up. Her hair is a complete disaster. There's a faint mark near her throat that I absolutely refuse to feel smug about. Her eyes are still heavy with sleep, but bright underneath it. And she is smiling. At me. No sarcasm, no strategic cruelty, just warmth. This may be the most dangerous development yet. You stayed, she says quietly. The teasing leaves the room as soon as the words do. Of course I stayed. You could have left after, she gestures vaguely, blushing only after the gesture is complete. I could have, I agree, but I'm not an idiot. She studies me for a moment, softer than I have ever seen her. Thank you, she says, for staying by my side. I'll never forget this. Something in my chest shifts hard enough to be inconvenient. Then her eyes narrow slightly. But that doesn't mean you'll let me win against me academically. There she is. I smile slowly. I was worried the real you had disappeared. The real you was here all along. The real you drooled on my shoulder 20 seconds ago. That is slander. It is moisture-based fact. She gasps in outrage and tries to shove me, but she is half asleep and mostly just ends up pressing herself closer. I take advantage of the opening immediately. I wrap both arms around her, roll us backwards, and pull her fully on top of me as I fall deeper into the bed. She lets out a startled noise that turns into laughter. The sound fills the room. Warm, bright, home. That thought catches me off guard. Home. Not my family's house with its careful tensions, not dormitories or lecture halls and the endless performance of competence. This, a tangled bed, morning light, Valeria in my arms pretending to be annoyed while secretly settling more comfortably against me. I hold her tighter. You're impossible, she says. You say that like it's criticism. It is criticism. It sounds affectionate. It is not affectionate. She tucks her face into my neck. Liar. I close my eyes and breathe her in. Her scent is softer now, calmer, still threaded with something that calls instinct to attention and makes me want to keep her close indefinitely. We should get up eventually. No. We have class. Drop out. We have a project. Fail it. You'd never say either of those things sincerely. I'm growing as a person. I laugh into her hair. Then I let the silence settle around us again. No pressure, no audience, no hierarchy. Just 2 girls in bed after a night neither of us will ever forget. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I don't feel like I need to be anywhere else.
Chapter 6. Valeria. It takes us an embarrassingly long time to leave my bed. Not because either of us says we want to stay. That would require honesty. Instead, we keep inventing practical reasons to delay. Kaeryn claims she cannot find one of her socks. I point out that she arrived wearing matching socks and is leaving with neither dignity nor evidence. She retaliates by informing me that my hair looks romantically unstable. I tell her she looks smug enough to be fined. Then she kisses me in the middle of my rebuttal. After that, punctuality never really had a chance. By the time we finally step outside, the morning has drifted toward noon, and my stomach is making itself known with a level of aggression I respect. "I need food immediately," I announce as we cross the quad. "You sound dramatic." "I'm weak from starvation. I engaged in strenuous overnight activity. My body requires support." Kaeryn nearly walks into a sculpture. She laughs low and warm and slips her hand into mine like it belongs there. It feels suspiciously natural. Students pass us in clusters, half awake and carrying coffee, half wrapped in their own lives to care that Hallian's top academic rivals are walking hand in hand like a scandalized donor's nightmare. "Look at you, skipping class." "I'm not skipping class, I'm reallocating my time." "You're a bad influence." "I'm a visionary." "You convinced me to miss econometrics." "You chose desire over spreadsheets." "That may be the most offensive thing you've ever said." I smile despite myself. She squeezes my hand. I am beginning to notice that Kaeryn touches often, briefly, casually, constantly. My wrist, my shoulder, the small of my back when guiding me through a doorway. Every touch feels like a private sentence. We reach the campus diner, which is less a diner and more Hallian's attempt to make wealth look humble. Chrome counters, leather booths, curated nostalgia, and menu prices that imply eggs were once endangered. Still, it smells heavenly. Butter, coffee, syrup, salt. I could cry. Kaeryn guides me into a booth by the window. There she goes again, guiding. The thought sends a strange warmth through me that has nothing to do with breakfast. A server appears. "I'll take pancakes, eggs, potatoes, toast, fruit, and whatever pastry looks most emotionally supportive." The server blinks once. "Right." Kaeryn orders coffee, an omelet, and then adds, "Bring another side of potatoes. She's recovering." "From what?" the server asks. Kaeryn smiles pleasantly. "Athletics." I kick her shin under the table. She looks delighted. When we're alone again, she leans back and studies me. "You were different last night." I stiffen slightly. "Incompetent?" "Soft." That was not the direction I expected. "Excuse me?" "You were softer," she repeats. "More feminine, more honest." I look toward the window because eye contact suddenly feels dangerous. "I was in heat." "You were still you." Her voice loses its teasing edge. "I liked seeing another side of you," she says. "You spend so much energy being sharp all the time." "I am naturally sharp." "You are naturally hiding." That lands too cleanly. I glance back at her. She isn't smirking. She means it. "I don't know what to do with softness," I admit quietly. "You let me hold it for you." The room seems to still around us. Then the server returns with coffee and enough food to feed a small committee. I could marry this tray. Kaeryn waits until I've taken 3 ravenous bites before speaking again. "We should work on the assignment later." We should. We both know that means neither of us intends to spend the day apart. The project has become a convenient academic disguise for whatever this is. Since last night, her scent calls to me in a way that feels deeply unfair. Even now, with coffee between us and public space surrounding us, I am aware of it. Cedar and warmth and alpha steadiness. And, if I'm honest, she seems calmer around me too. More settled, as if my scent does something to her as well. Kaeryn watches me demolish half my pancakes. "You should be my girlfriend." I nearly inhale syrup. "What?" She reaches for her coffee, suddenly too casual. "You heard me." That sounded like a joke. It began as one. I set my fork down. She meets my gaze directly now. No games, no teasing. "I'm serious," she says. "Would you be open to the idea?" Her directness startles me, but I appreciate it more than I want to admit. Kaeryn does not circle things endlessly. She walks at them. I wipe my mouth carefully to buy time. I would be open, I say at last, but if we do this, our personal relationship remains separate from the project. She blinks. That was incredibly administrative. So you agree? I agree, she says. Professional excellence, personal chaos. Acceptable. Then she leans forward. Do you feel it too? I narrow my eyes. Define it. She gestures vaguely between us. This. I glance down at where our knees are touching under the table, then back up. You mean the insane chemistry that's buzzing like a live wire between us? Her mouth curves. Yes. I take a sip of coffee. I am still high on heat hormones. The disappointment on her face is immediate and strangely endearing. Oh. I almost laugh. So maybe, she says, trying for casual and failing, I'll ask you to be my girlfriend again when you're more clear-minded. My answer won't change. She goes still. I continue before nerves can interfere. I've found you attractive for a long time. Her brows rise. Even when we were rivals? Especially then. That smile again. Bright, dangerous. Our arguments were the best banter I'd ever had, I admit. No one else here knows how to spar properly. Kaeryn looks unbearably pleased. I knew it. You knew nothing. I knew you were obsessed with me. I tolerated you competitively. She laughs, then reaches across the table and brushes her thumb gently at the corner of my mouth. I freeze. There was jam, she says. My face burns. I should hate being fussed over in public. I should recoil from the tenderness of it. Instead, I love it. I love being pampered, taken care of, handled with that easy confidence only she seems to possess. By my alpha. The thought slams into me so hard I nearly drop my fork. My alpha. I stare at her. Kaeryn is sipping coffee, entirely unaware she has just ruined my internal stability with a phrase I invented. You look alarmed, she says. I'm reassessing several things. About me? Unfortunately. She grins. Good. Keep going. And as she reaches for another potato and places it on my plate without asking, I realize with a mix of horror and delight, I absolutely will.